How do Mime Artists? Welcome to 10 more UX stages. So from now on, not all of them will be S ranks, just because I have well over 700 S ranks, and at this point, there's not much purpose for them. I will give you hints as to how I get the S ranks, and some of the stages will just naturally be, or just happen to be S ranks, so we'll see how it goes with some of the new stages. I have well over 700 S ranks, so we'll just see how it goes from here on in with some of the new stages that will come out possibly with the next generation, or whatever will happen to Pokemon Shuffle when the next generation comes out by the end of this year. First off here, we have Blitzel going in with shiny Mega Mewtwo, Landorus and Primal Kyogre. Primal Kyogre and the shiny Mega Mewtwo are not super effective, but they are great for this stage. The Primal Kyogre can do a lot more damage while getting rid of 7 of the breakable blocks, and as you could have seen at the start of the stage, there was a lot of breakable blocks. If you want to swap out the Landorus for something else, that's completely fine. I decided to go for the shiny Mewtwo, just have a really good Mega that gets rid of itself, and Mega Mewtwo shiny for myself is one of the best, especially because it's got Mega Boost, so it really helps just starting a little bit earlier. And there we go, that stage is not too shabby in the slightest. If you're struggling with it, a +5 moves at most is all you're going to need for the S rank on that one. But if you do it a couple of times, I'm sure you will be able to get it quite naturally. And then next up here we have Licky Licky. There are quite a few Licky Lickies on the stage, there are quite a few Lickitongues on the stage. I tried going in with them, and I tried taking a double normal team, that just did not seem to work at all. It's only going to disrupt you with the Licky Licky down the side of the screen. So you only need to take one, but instead, Lickitongue down the side of the screen, I decided just to take Celesteela, do a couple of matches every few turns, and between then just be making some hefty matches with the Buzzwole and with the Meloetta, just being able to get some fairly good combos. If you want to swap out the Lucario for the shiny Mewtwo that was in the last stage, feel free to, it'd be very good on a stage like this. It would be super effective as well, because it is fighting type, so whatever you like to do, whatever your will. If it be your will, as Leonard Cohen said. See how you get on the stage. It's really not that bad. It's a very bulky Pokemon, just like Snorlax from the last set of 10. So there's still plenty of heft, there's plenty of weight on this stage. For the +5 moves, maybe an S rank, for the S rank, maybe a +5 moves at most, perhaps attack power up, and I think that would be more than enough to get the S rank on a stage like this. There's a lot of weight, a lot of bulk in this Pokemon, but you're also doing a lot of damage with the Buzzwole, with the Meloetta, so it should be completely fine. It's not that hard of a stage, especially when you've got Celesteela along. Mine is about level 11 or 12, skill level 4, so it's a fairly good Pokemon, even though it's not super effective here. There we go, 3 moves left, but like I said, +5 moves, maybe an attack power up if you're struggling after using +5 moves. Then we've got Pangoro, shiny Mega Mewtwo, Mewtwo, Tapu Lele and Deoxys. Deoxys is okay here. You could always swap out the Deoxys and the Tapu Lele, as neither of them are really necessary. You will just have a couple of the Panchams on this stage. So neither of them, if you're going to get rid of the Tapu Lele, also get rid of the Deoxys, just because after that point you won't have enough psychic types for it to really be worthwhile. Occasionally they will disrupt themselves so much that they do disrupt themselves out of the stage. They do make matches, which is quite nice. Feel free to swap out the Tapu Lele with an eject Pokemon, perhaps a shot out Pokemon. Something along those lines would be completely fine. For that you've got things like Noivern, you've got Flygon, any of those would be fine on a stage like this. The non-shiny Mewtwo can do a lot of damage, even though this is a fairly bulky Pokemon as well, with I think about 40,000 HP. So it might take a good little bashing. For the S rank, probably a +5 moves. I don't think the disruptions are enough to really warrant a disruption delay. Perhaps just an attack power up, maybe a... not a mega start, because this mega gets started really quickly. +5 moves. Attack power up if absolutely necessary. And there we go, only just able to beat it, 0 moves left, but like I said, +5 moves, attack power up, and this should be a very easy stage indeed. Swap out the team, see how you feel. Next up here we have Garbodor, with Shiny Mewtwo, Mega Shiny Mewtwo, Landorus and Flygon. So a nice mixture of Pokemon here. The Flygon, as you can see, just to get rid of the Garbodors that come onto the stage. Landorus just there as a little bit of support, a little bit of power, as well as for the non-shiny Mewtwo. Very powerful Pokemon, the Mewtwo, Shiny Mewtwo, very good Mega, just does a little bit extra for you to be able to combo a little bit harder, a little bit better, a little bit easier. This Pokemon doesn't really have a lot of HP, especially when you've got such tough Pokemon as the non-shiny Mewtwo. At most you're probably going to need a +5 moves for this stage to be able to S-rank it, if you choose to S-rank it. It's really not that hard. If your Flygon's highly leveled as well, that'll put a good dent in its HP. There we go, 5 moves left, not too bad at all. And then we have Doublade up next, full fighting team. You've seen it before, you've loved it before, you've known it before. There's also going to be quite a few Klefkis on the stage, as you can see. They're not too bothersome, nothing really to worry about. There will always be maybe 4 or 5 on the stage, which is not the best for comboing, but you can use the Mega Lucario to be able to get rid of them where and when possible. Beware is very good here, just to be able to stop the disruptions for a turn or two, which are full columns of breakable blocks. Not the worst disruptions by any means, but it still can hurt your combos and hurt your damage output just a wee bit. There will also be some unbreakable blocks, as you can see. If you want to swap out one of these Pokemon for something like a Gallade, that's completely understandable. Completely fine. Would certainly help when the unbreakable blocks start to come in. There isn't that much HP on this Pokemon, so if you get a good couple of matches of 4 with the Buzzwole, you'll be completely fine. This stage shouldn't be much trouble at all, and for the S rank, probably just a +5 moves. If you are struggling with it, however, maybe a disruption delay in there, as the disruptions can be a little bit disruptive, would you believe? But not too terrible all over. Then we've got Cofagrigus up next. Going in with Gengar, Hoopa and Giratina. If your Hoopa is skill swapped to have typeless combo, all the better for you. That will make this stage so much faster, so much simpler. Mine is still has Risk Taker. That will be swapped out when Hoopa comes back around, but until then I will suffer in, I'd say silence, but it won't be silent, that my Hoopa still has Risk Taker. There will be some breakable blocks on this stage, and once you've got the Mega Gengar going, it will take away some of the clouds on the stage, which is quite nice, quite helpful, but they're not too disruptive. It's mostly just a psychological disruption. But if you move them, if you take it slowly, you can see what's under the clouds. It's not too terrible at all. This stage is very good for combos. There will be some breakable blocks, as you could see on this stage, but they are not too terrible in the slightest. They should always be gone within the same combo as you make your match. Giratina is completely optional here. It's just a strong, super effective type, but if you've got one that you think's better, take that along. Certainly any ghost types, any dark types will be completely fine on this stage. As you can see, it's got a fairly high amount of HP, but you're doing a lot of combo damage, which should offset that. And there we go, plus 5 moves at most is all you'll need for the S rank. Next up here we have the Renuniclus, Disruption Delay and a plus 5 moves, as this stage's disruptions are god awful. Not good in the slightest. I went for Mega Rayquaza as the Mega. Hoopa, just going over from the last one, super effective, a very good Pokemon here. If you use this typeless combo, don't bother taking along the Silvally, just take along another super effective, good Pokemon that you have. If you can, just make sure that you don't see the disruptions, because the Renuniclus will just throw so much at you. This is a terribly difficult stage. Luckily, I think in this run I didn't see any of the disruptions, but it throws so much at you. It's a real burden and really slows you down. I think there's unbreakable blocks everywhere. Ice. Anything you could imagine, everything just gets thrown at you. This stage is not an easy one at all. I was able to get the S rank on it, I believe. We'll see towards the end. So it's nice. It's once you've got the items, it's not that bad. Just hope that you don't have to see any of the disruptions, as they will slow you down and possibly take away your S rank. It does have a fairly high amount of HP, it's close to 50,000 I think, which is fairly high. But with Rayquaza you're able to do quite a little bit of combo damage. I definitely recommend Rayquaza over something like Gengar, although Gengar is super effective. Rayquaza I think in this situation is just a little bit better for comboing. And there we go, 23 moves left. Perhaps the plus 5 moves wasn't necessary, but the disruption delay definitely is. Definitely. Sounded like a horse there, definitely. Next up, we have Conkeldurr. Another fairly tough Pokemon. This one I don't think was S ranked. It's a super effective full psychic team. Tapu Lele is very good for the start here, just with how many breakable blocks it are. The stabilize ability comes in fantastic here. You can swap out Tapu Lele to have the typeless combo ability, so feel free to do that if you like. It's a very good ability. I personally still like having the stabilize plus with Tapu Lele, but I may come to regret it, just like I did with Hoopa when that was about. As you can see on this stage, there are a lot of breakable blocks. If you want to bring along Primal Kyogre, feel free to. It'd probably be quite good on the stage. It wouldn't be super effective, but would still have quite a high damage output nonetheless. Both of the Mewtwo's very good here. The shiny Mewtwo just to be able to get rid of itself and let you do a little bit extra combo damage. And the other Mewtwo is just very good at doing a lot of damage. I'd say that the non-shiny Mewtwo definitely not negotiable. But if you wanted to take along something like Alakazam as your Mega, it could come in fairly handy for at least the first half. But if you're going for something like an attack power up to go for the S rank, I'd say that the shiny Mewtwo is your best bet here. There will be some disruptions towards the end, but hopefully by then you should be incredibly close to beating this stage. So for the S rank, probably +5 moves, attack power up. And I think that should probably do it. I don't think there's too much else to it. As you can see, it's close to 60,000 HP, which is an awful lot. So attack power up on a stage like this could be very helpful. Penultimately here we have Tangrowth. Penultimately. Almost at stage 200 already. It feels like just 2 weeks ago these UX stages came out, probably because it was 2 weeks ago. I'd recommend not going for the Noivern or Lugia match just because the Tangrowth will disrupt themselves, and perhaps if you mess about with it too much they won't get rid of themselves. So maybe just focus more on the Braviary or the Salamence for the first match or two before they get rid of themselves. And then after that it's just a normal everyday stage. You can swap out Lugia for the most part or the Noivern, as I don't believe there are any more disruptions. These are just the most or the highest leveled flying types I have. I think Shiny Rayquaza is also fairly high, but I didn't bring that along. Braviary very good here. Mine's is only skill level 3, I think. So the flying combo isn't as high as it could be, doesn't go off as often as it could. I say as it goes off. Mega Salamence is a very good Mega here. Mine's has been fully candied. I used to use it for the weekend Meowth stage, so mine's is fully candied, very highly leveled, so very good Pokemon, especially for the full flying stage like this. Can just cut through Tangrowth like butter. For the S rank on this stage, probably just a +5 moves. You might not even need that if you're lucky enough, if your team's highly leveled enough. This one possibly will be slightly RNG based, just with how well some of the combos do. I'd say give it 2 or 3 shots. You should probably be able to get it itemless, if not a little cheeky little +5 moves in there. There we go. Tangrowth is beaten, 6 moves left, just a move or 2 away from the S rank, which is unfortunate, but maybe just +5 moves and you will be fine. Lastly here we have Tyranitar, and this is a big one. I just went with the +5 moves. I was just going for as little as possible to be able to beat this stage. I did take along Tyranitar as the Mega. It's not as effective as Mega Aggron. Mega Aggron is very good here, but Tyranitar does disrupt you with Tyranitar, which can help a little bit doing more for comboing. Primal Kyogre is here as well, just because there will be an obscene number of breakable blocks on this stage. Obscene! And there's unbreakable blocks, that's why Registeel is here. And then the Buzzwole's just here to be doing damage when possible. Feel free to swap out the Buzzwole for the Meloetta, that's a little bit more versatile. You can make matches with 3 or 5. So that might be something to swap out, might do you a little better. Once the stage gets really going, there are a lot of blocks on the stage, both breakable and unbreakable, so it's good to be able to have as highly leveled as possible your Primal Kyogre and your Registeel. My Primal Kyogre I think is about level 9, there's still a little bit of a way to go with that. And the Registeel, that's 13 or so by now, that's a fairly highly leveled Pokemon. At a certain point it just puts a lot of disruptions on the board at the one time. And this is where the Mega Tyranitar really comes in handy, just to be able to cut through those, give you a little bit of space to maneuver, a little bit of space to work, get some good matches. So there, after it disrupts you with the unbreakable blocks, with the breakable blocks, it will also disrupt you with itself. That is why it's very good Mega to have along, just to be able to do that little bit extra damage, maybe get an extra combo or 2 in there. So for this stage I would definitely say perhaps swap out the Buzzwole for something a little bit more dynamic like a Meloretta. And for the S rank, probably attack power up, a disruption delay, +5 moves, almost the whole works. Complexity -1 I wouldn't say is necessary, but attack power up, disruption delay I think would be the way forward. And that of course is if you want to get the S rank. If not, it's a fine stage with a +5 moves that you should be able to beat. Yeah. And there we go, one move left. Thank you for watching these 10 new main stage UXs. Thank you very much, and how do, Mime Artists?
Eggs! Eggs! E-double-G-S eggs!